Hello everyone, VegasVic1965, and I am in the Addstar hub with Chaos Rising, a moderator, and my son Noah.
Hi.
And this video we are going to be doing, or for this week, we're going to be doing a video on enchanting. And the first series will be a three-part series, but the first in the series will be on armor. So without further ado, let's find out. Welcome back everyone, VegasVic1965, and I have Noah. Oh, where'd Noah go to?
I'm right here.
Oh, there you are. Popped right in there. Noah and I this week are going to be going over armor enchants. Next week will be weapons, and finally then the third part series will be tools. So let's get started with the enchanting table, shall we? Over here Noah has put something together, and I thought he'd be better to explain this than I could. There's a button I see right in the middle. Tell me about it, Noah. Tell us about it.
In the enchanting book, if you press this button, it goes down. If you press it again, it goes up. This design was made by Preston Plays. I made it in SkyGrid, and I think in Survival too.
Awesome.
It's a very cool design. I think it was a good thing for the video since it's about enchanting.
Oh, that's pretty cool, buddy. I remember seeing this in SkyGrid. Of course, I think I was building something else, come back and was checking it out. It's pretty cool. Anyway, that's a pretty good design. He said again it was made by Preston Plays, one of his older videos. So we'll take a look at the enchanting table, which a lot of people use, especially in early game. The enchanting table, of course, is made with a diamond and some obsidian, and it needs to be surrounded by 15 bookshelves, which are not that easy to get a hold of when you first start out. But if you put it in this pattern, you will achieve the max you possibly can on enchanting your item. So if we open up the what they call the GUI, we could put a piece in there, and then of course it's going to cost us levels, and it's going to cost us lapis lazuli. Now, depending on the level that you have, if you are level 30, then you can get whatever they have right here, which happens to be unbreaking. If you're only level 15 up to level 30, even 29, then you'll be able to get fire protection 1, and if you have 8 or less, you'll be able to get unbreaking 1. Now, the problem I have, and I know when I first started playing, I was using the enchanting table, but I haven't used one in quite a while, and the main reason for it is, if I was to enchant this piece and I see it's in breaking 3, and that's something I know I want, something I know everybody wants, there's a good chance that I'll get something else. Yay! The problem is, what if I get fire protection 2 or 3 or some other enchant that I did not want to have on that helm? Well, then you're stuck with it, especially when it comes to the protection enchants. You're not going to be able to change it. If it comes in at protection 2, no big deal. But once you enchant a piece with the enchanting table, you're stuck. You cannot re-enchant that same piece. So you're kind of limited. It makes it a little easier as far as enchanting early game, but I prefer to use the anvil. Now, what we're going to be looking at, Noah, right, is going to be our armor pieces, enchanting them with books from villagers using an anvil. So, but the first thing I want to go over here, Noah, is going to be the actual values. There's a little confusion. Some people say they should go with blast or fire or projectile, but I wanted to point out that regardless of the armor that you're using, because every armor, different type of armor, has its own defense value already built in, you can get additional defense. And the game will allow you, based on the protection that you choose, and it will allow you to get more, but up to a value of 20. You can't get any more than that. Now, for the specific enchants like blast, fire, and projectile, even though it says, like for example, blast protection 4, the value of it is 8. So if you put all 4 pieces on your gear, then in our example here, you will see that it comes up to 32. That's 12 points wasted. And you're not protected for anything else, any other type of armor, other than what your armor carries in its defense already. So if you have blast protection and you get a bunch of skeletons or pillagers shooting at you, you pretty much have little defense against that. Now for me, me and Noah, we like protection 4. it gives you an overall protection of all of it. Now the value of it, it only comes in at 4 per piece, but all 4 pieces comes in at 16. We're only 4 points short, but you're protected from all the different sources of damage. So if you're concerned about, like, say for example, fire when you go into the nether, I really suggest that you use a fire resistance potion. With that, you can pretty much just swim in lava. You don't take any damage at all. Right, Noah?
Yep.
Cool. Come on, buddy. Let's go take a look at this over here.
Fire protection is not better than fire resistance.
That's exactly right. Okay, so there's 2 enchants here on the wall. One is Curse of Binding. You may or may not know, most of you who have been playing for a while already know, Curse of Binding means if you put that piece on, that armor piece on, or a tool or a weapon, then you're stuck with it. You cannot take it off. And the only way to get rid of it is to die, unfortunately. For the Curse of Vanishing, it's not really that bad. For example, you find it in an armor smith's chest or in a dungeon chest, or someone just happened to throw it into, let's say, a multiplayer spawn world as a giveaway. Curse of Vanishing is not bad. It's just when you die, it'll disappear. So let's take a look at what's up.
There's one thing that you need to mention. When
What's
you
that?
mean it disappears away, you mean it disappears like right away, right?
If you die and you run back to get your stuff,
It just right away.
any pieces that you had Curse of Vanishing on will be gone. Yep, that's right. I'm glad Toa asked that question. Okay, so let's take a look at the helmet piece. We're using diamond gear, and of course they have the 4 different protection values: blast, fire, and projectile that you can put on it, and protection. Me and Noah love regular protection. You can also put Aqua Affinity on it, and what it does, it gives you faster underwater mining. There's only 1 level to that. You have Thorns 1, 2, and 3, which causes damage to attackers. You have Respiration 1, 2, and 3, which extends underwater breathing. You have Unbreaking 1, 2, and 3, and finally Mending. Now for me, the perfect set, godly set that me and Noah wear is Protection 4. This is just in our opinion. Protection 4, and I put them on in this order: Protection 4, Respiration 3, then Unbreaking 3, then Aqua Affinity, and then finally Mending. Now there is a way to get Thorns on here. And the way to do that, if you wanted it, is going to be by putting Protection 4 on first. Then you'll put Thorns 3 on. Now when you put it in the anvil, you're going to notice, because Thorns has such a higher cost in levels to do this with, it may jump up to, let's say, 13, and you're like, oh, now what's going to happen? Because you notice that every time you put something in there to enchant, it goes higher and higher. Well, by the time you get Respiration 3, it might drop a point or 2. Unbreaking 3 might drop down to, let's say, 15, but it shouldn't be too bad. Then Aqua Affinity, and finally Mending, and you'll be able to get all those pieces on there. But that final book, the Mending book, is going to cost you 33 levels. Now, I have a pair of boots down there, has just the same number of enchants on it with Thorns that we did a little earlier, and that final Mending book did take up to level 33. So if you have that and you're able to do it, you've got to have Mending on it, and you've got to repair it by some other means other than using another diamond set of boots to repair it within the anvil, because if you try, it's going to come in at too expensive. So me personally, on my helm, I don't put Thorns on there. I save Thorns for my chest piece and my legs. And chest piece is next that we're going to go over. They have the same 4 protection enchants that you can put on there. Again, we love protection, regular protection. Thorns 1, 2, and 3. Unbreaking 1, 2, and 3. And Mending. And for our godly set, we put Protection 4 first in the anvil, and then Thorns 3, then Unbreaking 3, and then Mending. Is that right, Noah?
Yep.
Cool. What are we going on to next? Looks
Leggings.
like leggings. You got it. You got the same protection enchants you can put on that. This pretty much mirrors what you see over there on the chest plate. Thorns 1, 2, and 3, Unbreaking 1, 2, and 3, and Mending. So you're going to be doing the same thing when you go to enchant them from a brand new one. You're going to put Protection 4, then you'll enchant it with Thorns 3, then enchant it with Unbreaking 3, then finally Mending. And there's something I want to mention. Noah, where did you go? There you are. There's something I want to definitely mention to the guys out there. If you have, let's say, an Unbreaking 2 book, and 2 Unbreaking 2 books and you put them in an anvil to make it Unbreaking 3, there will be a penalty associated with that. And that penalty means when you go to enchant it, it's going to cost even more levels. Yep. So you keep combining your books to get the best ones, you make it to a point where it says too expensive. So what you really want to try and do is, if you've got a group of villagers, you want to make sure that those villagers are selling you the highest enchant for each one, right?
Yep.
Otherwise, you may not be able to enchant your gear the way we have it here. So let's take a look at the boots. Now the boot enchants, same thing. You have all 4 protection enchants, and we love protection 4, right?
Yep.
And you're looking at the additional enchants of Depth Strider 1, 2, 3, which helps you move faster underwater. You have Feather Falling 1, 2, 3, and 4, which reduces fall damage and TP damage. Then you have Thorns 1, 2, and 3, causes damage to attackers, as we mentioned earlier. And you also have Frostwalker. Now, Frostwalker and Depth Strider are exclusive, which meaning that you cannot put them on the same set of boots. Now, me personally, I don't use them. Noah likes them. But I would suggest having maybe an iron set if you're going to be crossing an ocean or a river and you want to put them on. And, of course, the 2 different levels just basically means that the higher the level 2, the higher one, will freeze more blocks of water out in front of you as you walk by. Then finally, Unbreaking 1, 2, 3, and Mending. So, for me and Noah's so-called godly vanilla set, in our opinion, would be Protection 4, then Feather Falling 4, then Depth Strider 3, Unbreaking 3, and lastly Mending. Again, enchanting him from highest to lowest. Now, there is a cost each and every time you do this. And if you do it in the correct order, you'll be able to go ahead and enchant them. There is a myth or a truth, I'm not quite sure. Test it out for yourself. Some people say it, that by naming your item, which costs 1 level, right, Noah? If you name an item? Mm-hmm. If you name your item, that it will never, never say too expensive when you repair something in Anvil. I think he just gave me something new. Huh? Yeah, that's the piece we usually go with. Oh, that's Protection 3. You're missing one. And if you get to this point that you see now, Protection 3, and you go to try and put Protection 4, I'm willing to bet it'll say too expensive. So, test it out for yourself to see if naming it will allow you to repair it with an equal item. So, for example, if you named your boots Thunderstorm boots or whatever you named them, and then they got really, really low, and you have another plain pair of diamond boots, go ahead and try it out and see if you're able to with the Thorns enchantment since you named it. And if it works, great, but I'm not too sure. I haven't tested it out for myself. I just heard people talk about it. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, when you repair items with a similar item, the cost and levels goes up until the point where you get too expensive. So mending, right, Noah?
Yep.
Is going to be our best friend, isn't it? Because
Mm-hmm.
you can get your level. You can actually repair it with the with a furnace. You can repair it with what's that, mob grinder, all kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
Cool. And actually, I have a video out on our channel that goes over the best way to repair gear with mending. And so, I wanted to mention here that Minecraft is about mining. That's why it's called Minecraft, right? Well, now armor smiths are back to selling our boots, legs, and helmet diamond gear in 1.14. Which is awesome. It used to be they took it out of the game. Now it's back in again. So if you are lucky enough to find an armor smith that can sell you any one of those 4 pieces that you use that has Unbreaking 3, that's 1 less penalty you have to worry about. Yep. In my opinion, it'd be awesome if you can find an Unbreaking 3 vendor selling diamond gear. That's great. So in my opinion, and me and Noah's opinion, an anvil is the best way to enchant your gear because you are guaranteed to get what you want on that piece with little difficulty, as opposed to a enchanting table, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, Noah, did I miss anything?
No.
You sure?
Double dog, sure.
All right. Well, listen, I make videos. Me and Noah make videos every Wednesday, and I edit them and get them out by early Thursday morning, which then they'll become available. So if you would like to subscribe for future videos, click on the subscribe button. If you like the video, click the like button. And until next week, you got anything to say, Noah? You want to add?
Yep.
What's up?
Goodbye.
Goodbye. All right, guys. Till next week. Goodbye.